The couple next door demanded I stop using my grill because the smell bothers us. When I refused, they called the police, claiming I was polluting the neighborhood. When the officers arrived, I calmly offered them a plate and said, "Funny, since the HOA approved this grill. Want some barbecue?" Living in the suburbs of Austin, Texas, my backyard had always been my sanctuary. After a long week at work, there was nothing more satisfying than grilling some ribs on a Saturday afternoon. The aroma of sizzling meat, the laughter of friends, and the clinking of beer bottles were my definitions of bliss. Enter the new neighbors, Mark and Patricia. They moved into the house next door about 6 months ago. At first, our interactions were limited to polite nods and the occasional wave. They seemed like a quiet couple, perhaps in their late 40s, with no kids and a penchant for pristine lawns. It was a sunny Saturday when I first noticed Patricia peering over the fence as I marinated some chicken. "Hello," I greeted, genuinely pleased to see her taking an interest. She hesitated before responding, "Hi. I was wondering if you could maybe not use your grill today? The smell, it drifts into our house, and it's quite bothersome." I was taken aback. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was an issue. But this is something I do every weekend. It's kind of a tradition." She pursed her lips. "Well, traditions can change, can't they?" And with that, she turned and walked away. Thinking it was a one-time grievance, I continued my weekend grilling sessions. However, the following Saturday, Mark approached me as I was setting up. "Hey," he began, avoiding eye contact. "Patricia mentioned she spoke to you about the grilling. We'd appreciate it if you stopped." I sighed. "Look, Mark, I understand where you're coming from, but this is my property. I'm not breaking any rules." He frowned. "We'll see about that." The next weekend, as the ribs were just hitting that perfect char, 2 uniformed police officers approached my yard. "Afternoon, sir," one began. "We've received a complaint about air pollution coming from this residence." Suppressing a chuckle, I gestured to my grill. "Officers, I'm just barbecuing. The HOA has approved this grill model, and I'm well within my rights." The second officer sniffed the air, a smile creeping onto his face. "Is that hickory wood?" I nodded. "Sure is. Would you like a plate?" They exchanged glances before the first officer replied, "That won't be necessary. But it seems you're not violating any ordinances. We'll inform the complainants." As they left, I couldn't help but notice Patricia glaring from her window. Days later, I received a letter from the HOA citing multiple complaints about nuisance odors emanating from my property. They requested a meeting. At the meeting, I presented my case. My grill was HOA approved, and I was adhering to all community guidelines. Several neighbors even vouched for me, stating they enjoyed the communal feel of weekend barbecues. The HOA concluded that I was not in violation, but suggested I try to appease Mark and Patricia. Determined to find a middle ground, I approached them with an offer. I'd limit my grilling to once every 2 weeks and ensure the smoke was minimized. Patricia's response? "We moved here for peace and quiet. If you can't respect that, maybe you should reconsider living here." That was it. No more concessions. The following weekend, I organized a neighborhood-wide barbecue, inviting everyone except Mark and Patricia. It was a hit. Kids played, adults mingled, and the sense of community was palpable. Mark and Patricia remained indoors, their blinds tightly shut. The complaints ceased, perhaps because they realized the neighborhood stood with me. Our interactions are now limited to terse nods, but the tension has eased. This experience taught me the importance of standing up for one's rights while striving for harmony. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, some conflicts remain unresolved. But with community support and a clear conscience, we can navigate them with grace. To those facing similar challenges, know your rights, seek compromise, but never at the expense of your happiness. About a week after the cookout, things got weird. It wasn't just the silent treatment anymore. I noticed small changes around the house, subtle things. My trash cans, which I always kept by the side gate, were suddenly pushed over in the mornings. At first, I thought it might be raccoons. But then I saw it happen through my security camera. Around 2 a.m., Mark, in a hoodie, walked over like he was just out for a stroll. He paused by my cans, looked around, and shoved them over with both hands before walking back to his driveway like nothing happened. I replayed the clip twice, just to be sure. I didn't say anything that day. I just righted the cans and carried on like normal. But I saved the video. A few days later, I started getting anonymous notes in my mailbox. They weren't threatening, just passive-aggressive. Things like, "Hope the fire department's on speed dial," and "Some people don't care who they poison." No return address. All printed in shaky block letters on cheap paper. Then came the HOA complaints again. Now it wasn't just about the grill. They said my lawn was overgrown. It wasn't. My music was too loud. I use a small Bluetooth speaker, and my guests were littering. They weren't. It became obvious they were trying to build a case against me. One afternoon, I was out front trimming the hedges when I saw Patricia walking her tiny dog. She didn't make eye contact. But as she passed, she muttered loud enough for me to hear, "Some people ruin everything they touch." I looked up. "Sorry, what was that?" She didn't respond. Just kept walking. That's when I decided to push back. I printed out copies of the security cam footage. I attached them to a formal letter stating that I was aware of the vandalism and harassment, and that I'd take it to the HOA and the local police if it continued. I slid the envelope under their door one night after dark. Nothing aggressive. Just facts. The next day, I came home to a giant smear of something looked like raw egg and mustard all over my grill cover. I had installed a second camera facing the back fence. I caught it again. This time it was both of them. Mark tossed the eggs. Patricia squirted the mustard. Then they both scurried back behind their fence like a pair of teenagers TPing a house. I sent both videos to the HOA board and asked for a formal meeting. They tried to deny it at first. Said the videos were edited. Claimed they were harassed by my guests. The HOA wasn't having it. 2 of the board members were at my cookout. They knew firsthand there was no harassment. They issued a warning to the couple and told them that any further reports without solid proof would be considered harassment on their part. For a week, things were quiet. No trash can incidents. No weird notes. I thought maybe it was over. Then my grill disappeared. I came outside on a Tuesday morning to find the entire unit, grill, propane tank, cover, tools, all gone. Like someone had just lifted it into a truck and drove off. I checked the cameras. This time, it wasn't Mark. It was a stranger. A tall man in a dark hoodie and jeans, gloves on, face hidden. He came through the side gate at 3:14 a.m., walked straight to the grill, unhooked the gas line like he knew exactly what he was doing, and wheeled it out of the yard. Gone in under 3 minutes. The police came. Took the report. I showed them the footage. They said it looked professional, but unless I had a serial number on the grill, it would be hard to recover. I was furious. That grill was a gift from my dad. Custom built. A few days later, I got another note. This one typed. Just said, "No smoke, no stink. Just peace. Learn." I didn't tell anyone this time. Not the HOA. Not even my friends. I started keeping track on my own. I ordered a new grill. Not a small one, a bigger, louder, shinier one with a built-in smoker and triple burners. I bolted it down to a concrete pad. Installed floodlights. Upgraded the cameras. Wired the gate to sound an alert if opened at night. And then I waited. The grill arrived on a Thursday. That Saturday, I fired it up. Loud. Smoky. Delicious. Invited twice as many friends. I made sure every scent from that grill flowed right over the fence line. I didn't care. But I kept an eye on the cameras, and that night, well, that's when things got even crazier. That night, the cameras caught something I didn't expect. Around 1:30 a.m., Mark crept through the alley again, but this time, he wasn't alone. Patricia followed him, carrying what looked like a jug, probably lighter fluid or gasoline. Mark had something wrapped in cloth, likely a rag soaked in fuel. They were planning to set my new grill on fire. They didn't know I was watching in real time from my phone. I had set up a motion alert. The second the gate moved, my phone buzzed, and I saw them sneaking in. My heart pounded. I didn't even have time to call the police. I ran straight outside. I stepped out with a floodlight in one hand and my phone recording in the other. They froze. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I said. Patricia dropped the jug. Mark took a step back. His voice cracked. "You're insane, man. You're trying to smoke us out. You ruined our lives." "No," I said, holding the phone steady. "You ruined your own lives." That was when Patricia tried to grab the phone from me. She lunged, slipped on the spilled fluid, and crashed hard into the concrete. Screamed in pain. Mark panicked and tried to help her up, slipping and smacking his head on the grill base. I backed away and called 911. They were both still there when the ambulance and police arrived. Mark bleeding from a cut above his eye. Patricia crying and holding her wrist. They were charged with attempted arson and trespassing. The cops reviewed all the footage, every note, every video, even the grill theft. Turns out, the man who stole my first grill was Mark's brother-in-law. They found it in his garage, thanks to Patricia's texts recovered during the investigation. They had planned the whole thing as a warning, and just when I thought that was the end, it got worse for them. Patricia was a school counselor. Mark worked in a mid-level city planning office. Both jobs required clean records. The charges, the footage, the arrests. They lost everything. Jobs gone. Reputation gone. House up for sale in under 2 months. The neighborhood watched it all unfold. No one helped them pack. No one waved goodbye. As for me, I didn't come out of this completely clean either. The HOA slapped me with a noise violation after the second big cookout. One of my friends accidentally broke a sprinkler head on the neighbor's lawn during a late-night beer run. I paid the fine, apologized, fixed the sprinkler. Nothing serious, but it reminded me that even when you're in the right, it's easy to let things spiral. Still, I don't regret standing my ground. I don't regret filming everything. I don't regret defending my space. But maybe next time, I'll stop at 1 plate of ribs instead of 3 kegs and a neighborhood DJ. The new neighbors who moved into Mark and Patricia's house? Super chill. They even asked for my marinade recipe.